So what I'm saying is we have been infiltrated. This is happening. No one believed Paul Heyman, but you watch the rise and fall. Tommy Dreamer tells the story. I'm telling it now. It's on my back, right? So I look like the crazy Mark, right? But I won't look crazy in 6 months' time, 12 months' time. So now let's look at ECW. ECW was doing great. I mean, it was ECW that Vince worked very closely with, didn't he? He let them on their TV, just enough to steal their formula, NXT. We all know the national newspaper's done a story about WWE stealing our storylines and stealing our bands and everything, right? Just work close enough to get their ideas, okay? And then when they finally got the Holy Grail, the big TV deal they waited for, which ended up being TNN, okay? TNN locked them into a contract that they could not escape from, that would not promote them until that company went bankrupt. And then what happened? Paul Heyman gets offered a job with WWE, and WWE takes the TNN spot. Interesting. Let me go one further. Ring of Honor, okay? Because we air some dirty laundry. I have no heat with Ring of Honor. I have no heat whatsoever with Ring of Honor, but there is heat with one person in Ring of Honor, okay? There's a guy in that company. I won't name his name. Everyone will know who it is. He's the guy that I dealt with. I love Kerry Silkin, and I think he's great. I think Jim Cornette's amazing. But all I'm going to tell you is, Ring of Honor's biggest market that they've ever had was the market I gave them. Like I showed TNA how to make the most of their UK market. I did that for Ring of Honor. They didn't come back. And they didn't come back, not because there wasn't money here for them, but because of a falling out between myself and this person. Now, myself and this person, there was some stuff that went down. And I thought, I knew I was not in the wrong, but then they went and did their tour of Japan, great market in Japan. What happens? They don't go back there because of a falling out that was so bad between the same person that Dragon Gate now set up their own Dragon Gate in the US, right? Now, I was talking to Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce was going to work with us, right, and link with us. And then he said, I'm going to confront Kerry Silkin, okay, on this guy, and I'm going to say he's no good. 4 days later, Adam Pearce gets fired. You know that's true. You know that's true, okay? So what I'm saying is there are people in these companies that are destroying them from the inside. Now, whether or not they've been sent by a higher source, a higher power, whether they've been sent by representatives from the biggest wrestling company in the world, I even am starting to have my suspicions that, like, you know, if I had the biggest wrestling company in the world, how would I make sure that I had no competition? I'd make a rival and I'd sign up all the guys that could potentially be draws, and I'd put him in a company that never turns a profit, and I'd make it look completely independent from myself, okay? I even have my suspicions on that front, because at the end of the day, when stuff as crazy as I'm telling you is actually happening, it takes an idiot not to see it. So you have to think of every possibility. So that is the nature of what's happening. What we're witnessing is the biggest thing in wrestling history, bar none. You know, Vince is he knows he's under attack. Who's he under attack from? You know, this is going on. He's a very powerful man with I think he's shown a lot of what's happening now. He's looking like he's acting all hard done by. He's not being hard done by. This is karma for the way the first person to post on the forum said, I'll support you when you start making wrestling entertaining again. Hear, hear. That's what I think is what we said in that interview we did. And now the way he's treated the guys, no insurance, the fact that they're independent contractors, they pay their own expenses. That's what happens when you abuse your staff and abuse your fans. Now he's just realised how all the power that he's got means nothing. And the person who in the storyline is the plant within the company from where I'm standing, okay, it seems like all these friends, okay, are getting the top positions, and the people who don't toe the line seem to get buried by Randy, who happens to be best friends with that person. It almost seems to me like the person who in our storyline is being positioned as the person to take over is making sure that all the top stars in that company all march to the beat of his drum. If I was Vince, I'd be really worried. I'd be terrified.
There's a lot of information there, to say the very least. Now, as interesting as much of that is, Alex, I think some of it is speculation and some of it is provable fact. So I want to turn to Tony. Obviously, you're Alex's business partner. You've been working closely with him for 18 months or so now. I'm hoping you might be able to corroborate some of the things Alex has just said here. And specifically, I want to focus on the one thing which I found most shocking, because it was the one thing that was Alex made a direct accusation there. He said that the accusation that Doug Williams made in our storyline, in the FWA storyline, is a real accusation. It wasn't made by Doug in real life, but that it was made by someone on the FWA roster.
Before you answer that, I'll just say for the deal that myself and Tony have here is that Tony trusts me implicitly with it, and I tell Tony things. Sometimes I say, ask me no questions, and I tell you no lies. So just so you know, it's very important that Tony is squeaky clean in everything that's about to take place. So just so you know, that's the situation. So you know, if you go cross-examine Tony on it, but that's fine.
True, but equally, I'm sure you know, you two work very closely. I'm sure there are things you tell each other. And if Tony, if you do know something, then it's in the interests of your company, your promotion, the FWA, to back up what Alex is saying. If you have some way of doing that, if you have any evidence to corroborate it. So I'm asking you outright if you have any information, any knowledge of what Alex has just said about the Doug Williams video being a real life storyline.
Like Alex said, I trust him with everything, and sometimes I don't know where what Alex is telling me may be the truth, or maybe a part of the storyline that it helps it go. The line's been blurred within the company. Huh? What about Martin Stone?
You said to me the other day.
Well, yeah. To be honest, I rang Alex the other day and I said, "Look, Alex, I need to ask you something. Are you and Martin working everybody? Has he actually been signed by WWE? Because it's all just getting too much like, oh, I've got an injury. Oh, but is he really got an injury? Is it a work? Is it, is that the reason why he's not gone to WWE? Is he signed by WWE? My head was like, I was going like Alex, with the conspiracy mind was going. I was thinking, I think they're working us. Like, Martin's not been signed by WWE. I haven't seen anything to prove that. Did he really have an operation on his leg? I don't know. I haven't seen anything to prove that either. I saw him, have some crutches, but I've got some crutches at home, and if I wanted to get a day off work, I'd, send a picture of me with crutches. But I think that, I don't always know. I'm very much like the fans. There is a line, and it has been blurred. There are parts that I trust Alex with, and there are parts where I think, I don't know if that's real. I don't know. So I can't actually back up or deny or anything in terms of that. But the one point I want to go back to with the, I know it's pulling it back a little bit. We've got all these these things that could possibly be true with the WWE and obviously the people involved, everything basically Alex just spoke about. But I think from a storyline perspective, I think that our booking, Alex's booking, has always been very. I always say it's Pixar booking. I think it's entertaining on multiple levels. So kids will know. Nick Aldis has come out. Brutus Magnus has come out. He's friends with those guys. Oh right, he's friends. Oh no. Now he's shaking the bad guy's hand. So he's been horrible. So he's working around. So kids are going to understand that he's turned his back on the people that were relying on him. And I think that was a level where anyone can understand it. Art of War, I keep saying Art of War is the perfect level of storyline. But then I think with that video, it's the first point where I think it's gone too far and it's not entertainment on multiple levels. I think it was just entertainment to a real niche, I think. And I think it may have gone too far in that level.
I agree.
But then is it real?
Yeah.
So much does back up. Does back up what was in that
If it was
video.
a storyline, I agree. But what I said to Tony, I said, you have to trust me on this. There's stuff going down. Like, when I speak about my feelings towards, these are not FWA's feelings towards, Tony. We did the pilot for a bit. I mean, if this works, this is going to be the big mainstream thing, right? And what they want to focus on one of the biggest channels there is our moral war against the WWE. Interesting. Now, I told Tony, if you trust me on this, we're going to get assistance that you can't even begin to believe. And over the coming months, you'll start seeing just how high up the food chain.
Not even the coming months. Well, I think they'll see it in the coming months, but in the last week, few days, some things have been coming up. We won't.
It doesn't get bigger.
No, it really
we might
doesn't.
as well go bowling with Barack Obama.
It's
that big. Yeah.
If you'd like to purchase any of the DVDs featured in this show, go to www.fwauk.com.
This is the resistance, And we need your help